Golden waves in all directions. I could lose my soul right here. Color lights on the runway makes a stranger feel unchained.
The Dudes Club is a downtown organization of men helping men. It's where you can go openly and be a man in a big jungle metropolis of Vancouver. It doesn't matter if you're Aboriginal or you come from the European side of the world or the Asian side of the world. Everybody is created as one person down in the Dudes Club.
The Dudes Club is a place where guys come to get together. The nature of our community in the downtown east side is a very transient community. For some people it's home, and it's home for decades. And the main issue they wanted to address was loneliness and social isolation, because that was leading guys to feel disconnected, to feel less important than the average guy, and as a consequence of that, not take care of themselves and their health. The lonely man without kids or without a partner is last on the list for all kinds of supports.
They've had very tough lives. They come from residential school, they come from battered homes. They've got a lot of healing to do, and I think it's a good place because there's nothing out there for men.
It is in the worst part of Vancouver, but the best comes out of everybody that comes here.
First thing we tell them is cast off your armor. You don't have to live behind the tough guy image that you live on the streets in here, because it just doesn't wash. Because realistically, we've seen enough from all of us that we know that behind the hot tough guy image, we're all little boys and there's still that part that hurts. And that's what makes it work.
You see a lot of smiles here, people laughing, having a good time. You just don't see that much down here.
What this place gives these guys is a place to be human. They're not treated like a case, like those people out there. They're treated like brothers. And every professional who's here, the men and women involved, treat everybody who comes across their threshold as a valuable human being.
There's not many groups like this for men. There's lots for women. No disrespect against women, but men need that too. Men need nurturing just as much as women.
Women have been asking for a long time, where are our men? Where are the guys in terms of their own community, and also in terms of the doctor's office or public health. That guys don't generally go in to see the doc until the leg's falling off or the chest is hurting a lot, And when you talk about children's health and youth and women's health, those are all kind of well-validated groups, and for some reason we've let men kind of lag behind quite considerably.
They talk about different issues, from syphilis to gonorrhea to heart, their lungs, everything. Because we do have a doctor there that, oversees everything, talks to them and asks them what they want to talk about.
This is a sanctuary. What's said here stays here. Guys can come in and discuss their issues, whatever it is, and it stays here.
Everywhere we've gone, it's
We want to be like the Dudes Club of Vancouver because you guys seem to know what's going on with mental health, physical health, camaraderie, and how it is to be a man.
I've been doing research with Vancouver Native Health and other partners in the downtown east side for the last 16 years. This club, I have to say, has really shifted things for many, many men. One of the things I noted in the downtown east side when I first started working there was that the life expectancy is, you know, it's very low comparatively. And so somebody who's 50 looks about 70 or 80 sometimes. Well, that's the life. It's been a really, really hard life. And to see a person actually shift, like actually get their life and actually have maybe a few more years is fantastic. And good years. Good years. It's a great model because it's the guys start it. It's all about the guys. It's not about somebody else. It's about the guys.
We should just take the bus. This weekend we're coming together to do a little bit of research, of course, thanks in large part to the funding from Movember Canada, to brainstorm, to share experiences and successes and failures with the 3 pilot sites who have just started this year in Prince George, Smithers, and on reserve in Morristown. You know, we're hoping that for most of these guys as well, and for us, it's a bit of a spiritual treat, an opportunity to share stories and connect. So far so good. We got here. We're all here in one piece. It's a camp retreat for our Dudes Club, something we've been dreaming of doing from year one. You know, get back to nature, out of the big concrete jungle and connect with each other in a more traditional way. We've got the elders who are taking care of, you know, the ceremony and the protocol and giving us some grounding.
As a group from Vancouver, we travel from the mouth of the river to come up here, and we are proud as 3 groups of one family, united as the groups called the Dudes. I'm going to sing a song that comes from way in the mountains.
The Dudes Club really separates itself from other men's groups or men's health initiatives in the fact that it is strongly connected with Indigenous roots. There's a mix for sure of guys from all parts of the world who end up in the downtown east side and other communities that do the Dudes Club, but they understand that we're working to reinforce and to celebrate and respect the heritage of our first peoples in Canada, so that the elders have a lot to teach us and to tell us the stories of generations ago about how men would gather to keep each other strong and to support each other.
I just want to give a little description of the Dudes logo. So they had the sun mask as Siakam, the power of the sun. So everything here means in good health. There you go, boss. So anyways.
We are a brotherhood of men's health. We're not political, we're not religious, we are dudes together. And in these current times, it's not easy to be a man. Throughout my life, it's been me. And I'm rejecting that it's just me when I'm the old guy. I'm speaking personally, this is what is helping me in my old age, is to have the closeness of other people. Yeah.
What it means to be a man, okay? And all of this, part of the exercise is to recognize and to respect that all of this is a social construct, okay? We do this to ourselves. There are just different ways of being a man. But in our society, there's these very strong requirements and expectations of masculinity. And so we're trying to just talk about that very openly to break down those rigid walls and have guys connect on a much broader level. That it's okay to open up, it's okay to be vulnerable, it's okay to take off your armor and share what's really bothering you, where, you know, in public it definitely wouldn't be.
A real man will cry.
Okay.
I cried when the first time I held my granddaughter.
Like that distinction between sex and gender. Sex is what you're born with your equipment. But what we become in terms of who we are is totally constructed by society. And we talk about this at Dudes Club. Jared yesterday said, I was physically present but emotionally absent as a father. So the point is,
setting up these groups with guys actually flies in the face of everything that we live in our society today, which is very much about the individual and, you know, I don't need anybody else and you shouldn't need anybody else. And when in fact in an Indigenous context, this is what we do, you know, it's a part of everyday life, to live in community, and that's how people survived.
Listen to the boy, right? Sometimes I think I should channel back and listen to that 12-year-old that I was, right? Being bullied in school and whatnot, right?
My name's Robert Elkins, and I'm from Anaheim Lake. I'm Chilcotin, and my band name is Okacho. Yeah, as soon as I hit about 13, I basically went into drugs and alcohol, and I just take each day by day, and just hope each day is going to be a good one. Like, I've had a few friends pass away in the last while, and normally I wouldn't have opened up or anything about it, but now I can actually talk about stuff like that, and it makes it easier knowing that I have people that I can talk to. Like, the Dudes Club is a place for me to hang out. It actually kind of makes it feel like home, actually.
Our dudes at the Dudes Club are, you know, are way softer than you'd think they should be. They open up and they share and they cry and they, you know, feel lots of feelings.
Somehow I got this far in life listening to the boy. Like I've had a great life. I am having a great life. And you're gonna make me cry, man. Stop. Yeah. You can cry.
Looking at this guy walking down the street, you might just assume there's a guy who's lived a tough life and he's kind of getting by, but he's got a very, very amazing story to tell.
It's part of the healing journey, right? There's a lot of embedded stuff, I call it stuff, of their past lives that's deep down rooted in their guts. And, you know, when we get together, they feel so safe that they talk about what's happening in their lives, and it all starts coming out. So
when you've been beaten up and abused by a woman as a child, I'm at a turning point in my life where I'm beginning to see things in a different light. And thanks to this group, I'm learning to trust people.
When we talk about the main ingredients for success, it's trust and safety, respect. And once you've built that, that's the key. This is our objective, for us to become a group of men who are trusting of each other, supportive of each other, and willing to be there when you're going to share a story that's pretty heavy to hear.
Thanks for listening, guys.
One thing Vicky and I talked about yesterday that I find is so inspiring about what you guys do, that I witness every day, every dude's meeting, is your resilience.
We're going through the final cycle of the residential school survivors. This is the year of reconciliation. And some of them come from dysfunctional families, and they were abused and they were forced to leave the reserve, right? There is no color in our home or at night, just a bunch of guys with stories of old to sit and laugh. Some of the men are too spirited, okay? And so they're forced off the reserve because they're non-accepted. But we accept them. Sometimes you look in one's eyes and he is lost, but another makes him come alive, and the stories go on. Each man is free to talk as we go around the room. Each one calls, I have a voice. That's all we need to hear. There is no judgment in our house. We are the dudes, the brotherhood of men.
My life growing up was a very painful one. It was a very lonely one. I was bullied a lot. I was the only person of color in my school. My parents and family weren't really what I would consider there for me emotionally or physically, right? You know, at almost 50 years old now, I've been dealing for the last 15 or 20 years now with all this stuff, this pain, this grief, these senses of loneliness. Although the Dudes Club for me is sort of a healing situation, it's not about me. It's about my son and what his life is going to be like when he grows up. I'm seeing people that are getting themselves right, getting themselves whole. The brotherhood, you know, is a wonderful thing to see. You can't have healthy families, you can't have a healthy community, you can't have a healthy planet without healthy men.
For these guys to come here to hang out by the lake, to smell the fresh air is a big deal. It brings them back home because they grew up in places like this. It makes them feel like they're coming full circle.
Vancouver is known as the biggest reserve in Canada because they figure there's 35,000 status, non-status Aboriginals in Vancouver. So when they get back into their cultures in Vancouver, they're separated from each other, right? But when they get back here into the land, they can revert back to their childhood of growing up. They said, I remember this as a young boy, as a clan, hunting with my father, right? Oh, they feel happy, they said.
I've been so lost in drugs and alcoholism for like 10 years, and being in the city, I've lost contact with nature. And it's a good thing that I'm here to get connected. Just the calmness is mesmerizing, wakens something up in me. I'm just happy to share it, that's all.
Each site has a vest, and the vest represents their armor. So, because we always talk about taking off your armor.
Men wear armor in society to protect ourselves from vulnerabilities, from stigma that guys face in terms of showing any sign of weakness when there's a health issue or an emotional issue. Henry Charles wears a ceremonial vest when he does his work in Musgrave and throughout the city, and so we bought a bunch of black leather vests, biker vests. We started saying that take off your armor thing a long time ago because the two concepts that we were working with was the warrior, which has always been a metaphor, especially for our Indigenous men. That's a good thing at times, but also kind of restricts what the definition of a man really is. You know, that a man should only be this tough, resilient, stoic guy. And also the concept, the military metaphor of, you know, a platoon of brothers working together to achieve something bigger than themselves.
You know, there's no reason when you come to a dudes meeting to put on a facade. You can just be yourself, and you'll notice that rough language, loud voices, anger, that kind of thing is quelled. It's like down there because it's not necessary. And then communication begins. And then healing begins with that. Watching the dudes, it gives me a huge sense of pride. It just comes in and just grows and grows and grows and grows. And I can't do anything but be happy about it. Probably the best thing that's happened to me.
Ocean the sea, Aristin the Holmokchen, Nan would I swallow and see him the sea, Stetson the eight stomachs and sea, I think swallow and see him.
I think the Dudes Club would be a fragmented coalition of men without our elders. They give us purpose, they give us direction, they give us grounding to guide the way we do things. And to do what we've talked about for a long time, which is to honor the old ways. We know a lot of things are broken in society, partly because we've just walked right past the traditions that were working for thousands of years. So for our elders to be there to share that with us is a big privilege, and honestly I think a requirement for any Dudes Club that's looking to set up shop.
I'm Henry Charles. That's my Christian name. I'm Mantas Satsamkan Taletsin wa Musqueam Musteok. My Indian name is Satsamkan, and I come from the Musqueam people. In 2013, I went to Juno Beach, Normandy, and I needed a song to make closure with my father, because my father ran away from the boarding schools to join WW2, as many of the Aboriginals of that age group did. And I sang this song, and I told him, I said, it's because of you warriors that came here, you fell on the beaches, and I can get up and I can see the sunrise in the morning. With the language comes the history, and with the songs comes your emotions.
Thank you for coming together. I just want to explain a couple things. The eagle feather, how it's brown and white. The white represents daylight and the dark represents nighttime. We use the eagle feather because it's closest animal or bird to the creator.
My name's Sandy Lambert. My people come from the Tall Cree First Nation, which is in northern Alberta, Fort Vermilion area. 3 weeks old, my mother decided to hitchhike to the downtown east side to hang out with her sister. That's where I was apprehended. And from there, between 3 weeks old to 6 years, I was in 7 different foster homes. So I understand where people are coming from. And it's been hard for me to do the healing as well.
This is to cleanse our bodies, to do healing, because we've had a lot of emotions in the last couple of days. So this will do some healing.
We all have a strength. We all have various other attributes, but in the native way, we're strengthening the strengths that they have, and the way that happens is through culture, following the medicine program, with making sure that we're all balanced, how our ancestors did it, how we were taught to do it, and bringing it to them gives them a new reason, a new way of doing things.
As Aboriginal people, we have to start helping ourselves. That's how the healing starts. We can't depend on other people, we need to start helping work with each other.
So I get text messages and calls from colleagues at the clinic, nurses and doctors alike, saying, Joe showed up today and asked me about his testosterone. This is a guy who wouldn't ask about proactive health issues for 10 years, and now he's coming in, curious about his health. So those are really good signs that we're making a difference in terms of changing attitudes.
Itzap Masteyok means everybody. It means that we're all the same people. Itzap Masteyok. So it means it's a friendly song that we're not going to fight or war with anybody. It's
This particular meeting this weekend has really given me a lot of positive insights into what actually can take place. You know, that the dreams that I have, that the dudes have, is doable.
These guys are among the most resilient people I've ever met in my life. And so, and that resilience is inspiring.
I think it has been a very, very big healing piece for many, many people.
It makes me happy because it's their wellness. You know, they're well. Their body, their mind, their spirit is all well. And that just exudes from them. And it gets into the next person. And it grabs me and it makes me feel, you know, up into my scalp.
People have stopped drinking. People have stopped using. So it is working.
Research like this can really make a difference. It really can. This could be anybody. This could be you. This could be your children. This could be your brother, your sister, your mother, your father. So it's this real responsiveness to our own community to make it better in some way. Otherwise, how could we live with ourselves?
What we're trying to do is redefine, you know, what today's man is.
Because you can't have healthy families or healthy communities without healthy men.
So a lot of us are here to get away. But I think what we're coming to realize maybe is that we're actually not going away, we're coming home. So after we do the circle, maybe a moment of silence, because there's people who aren't here with us who could be, and people who aren't here with us who should be. So just put your hands, your arms up around the guy beside you.